Blinded by the light. Hi guys, I'm Amy. Welcome back to my channel. Today I have a dual book review for all of you, and I will be reviewing two books, hence dual. The first of which will be You Will Not Have My Hate by Antoine Lerice, and the second of which is Chemistry by Weiki Wang. So if you want to hear my thoughts on these little baby books, then go ahead and keep on watching. We will start with the nonfiction read, this itty bitty baby book that's only 129 pages and very minimal words on each and every page. You Will Not Have My Hate by Antoine Lerice. This book devastated me. Absolutely devastated me. Some Kleenex hit the dust while I read this book, but I found it achingly beautiful. This book is about a man's experience. Antoine, the writer, he's a journalist, and he lost his wife in the 2015 Paris attacks in November. His wife was one of the individuals who was shot and killed at the Bataclan concert, where they also took hostages. And this book is his response to his grief and to this act of terror, and to how he decided to approach life with their 17-month-old son that his wife Helene, also left behind. And I like I said, guys, this book just devastated me. He started writing this book only a few days after Helene's death, and he also wrote a letter that went viral on Facebook, where he directly addresses the individuals who perpetrated this act of terror and how they will not have his hate, and that they will not make him give up freedoms for the sake of security. And I cannot put into words how important I really do think this book is, because Antoine had every right to respond with anger about the fact that his wife was taken from him seemingly far too early, but instead he treated his grief as very precious, and his time with Helene and their son Melvin in a way that I don't think many of us could have approached it. If everyone in the world had this kind of strength and outlook on how to approach times of great grief and devastation, then I think we would be a lot better off. I absolutely adore this book. Also, I should probably mention that this book was translated from the French by Sam Taylor, and I really do think this translation was done very well. I found the sentences to be very simple and cut almost, but I found it to really portray Antoine's grief as he was trying to cope with and just wrap his mind around the fact that his wife was never coming home and that his son was never really going to truly remember his mother. And this approach to this really simple writing just worked really, really well. So a 5 out of 5 star read for me. I highly recommend this book that you guys. It will devastate you. If you can get through this book without crying, that's super impressive. We'll just put it that way. But a 5 out of 5 star read. I've had a lot of 5-star reads thus far this year, which is really awesome, but also kind of freaks me out a little bit because I'm afraid things will start to go downhill. But regardless, this is a book that you need to read, and you won't be disappointed if you do. Now, are you guys ready for this? Are you ready for this? You know how I have, like I mentioned, like minimal 5-star reads usually because I tend to be really hypercritical? Chemistry was also a 5-star read, which is awesome. Like I said, hopefully I'm not getting too lax on this like rating thing, but you guys will have to let me know. But Chemistry by Weiki Wang. This is her debut novel, and it is absolutely wonderful. I enjoyed this book on so many different levels. So this book is about a young woman. It is written in a stream of consciousness, and the narrator, this young woman, you don't ever learn her name. in actuality, you only learn the name of one person in this book, and that is her boyfriend, Eric, who she lives with. They are both participating in the PhD program at Harvard for chemistry. And essentially what happens is at the start of this book, our narrator is really struggling with where she's at in life. She's not happy with her choice to be in the PhD program. She's also questioning her relationship with Eric. And after essentially a nervous breakdown, she leaves the program. And this is then mostly discusses what happens after she's gone. And she is also a Chinese immigrant. Her parents, who both grew up in China, moved to the United States when she was 5 years old. So this book also discusses this dichotomy of being an immigrant and not really fitting in with the American-born children, but at the same time not feeling Chinese because most of her life she was in America. And this book just approached all these topics of what your relationship with your parents can do to you, your relationship with your loved one, as in your life partner, your choices, and how the choices you make lead you to a place that you thought you wanted to be, but then you get there and you begin to question, I don't know if I want this. I think this is a book that needs to be read by young people, by late teens to mid-20s. And as a 27-year-old, I found this book very relatable because I was also at this point in my life. I had graduated from college, I had a psychology degree, and I had no idea what to do with it. And I just felt really, really lost, which is exactly what our narrator feels. She also discusses in depth these feelings and this melancholy depression that she sinks into after the fact that what she thought was always going to be her life isn't her life. She is also trying to decide if she wants to marry her boyfriend who has proposed to her, and she has asked for more time. And that's the general gist of this book. She's just trying to figure out what the hell she's doing and what she should be doing and shouldn't be doing, and how her parents, who were in a very seemingly unhappy marriage with very typical Chinese upbringing of it's not good enough, it's never gonna be good enough, you need to do better, if you're not studying, you're wasting your time. This all combines into this one person and her trying to cope with all of this. And it was really, really well done. I found that I got to know the narrator really, really well, which to me really surprised me because, like I said, this book is written in a constant stream of consciousness, and they're told in vignettes. This book is actually very similar in writing style to Deepti Kapoor's A Bad Character, but I enjoyed this book so much more. Like, there are not words to describe how much more I enjoyed this book than the other one. But these little vignettes just sort of allow you to piece this puzzle together of who this girl is and who she wants to be and who she thinks she needs to be, and how all of these influences are converging in one point and how she's just really at a loss of what to do. And I found that very, very relatable. Another thing that I found really, really interesting about this book, all the other characters in this book are described as the best friend, the advisor, the cashier, the therapist, the dog, whereas her parents are my father and my mother, and then Eric, her boyfriend, is the only one that his name is specifically addressed. And I just really found that interesting because the three people that are really, really hanging her up on where she's at are the three people that are not just referred to as the blank. So I found that really, really enjoyable and interesting. And another little tidbit that I loved about this book is that being of a Chinese immigrant's child, and I totally screwed that phrase up, but it's fine. It's just fine. It's fine. It's fine. And she was taught to basically repress her emotions and just keep going. You just didn't show those emotions. And with her background in science and having pursued a degree in a PhD in chemistry, she uses these little facts about the natural world and chemistry and biology and neurology and psychology to basically replace her describing how she feels. She draws these parallels between these natural occurrences in life to allow you as the reader to understand what is happening inside of her. And the narrator also has this really dry, sarcastic wit that I really could get on board with. I highly recommend this book, guys. Another really, really tiny one, although it does have deckled edges. And would you publishers just stop doing deckled edges? None of you are gonna agree with me on this, but I hate deckled edges. But this book was good enough that, I mean, I'm not gonna dock it for having deckled edges because I do like the cover as well. Anyway, a 5 out of 5 star read. Like I said, awesome to have 2 books in a single review that are 5 out of 5 star reads for me. But have you guys read either one of these? And if you haven't, you totally should. And let's discuss it down in the comments, because that's the best part of these videos, is chatting with all of you. If you guys liked this video, please like it. And if you loved it, subscribe. And thank you so much for watching. You guys really, really do rock. And you make my day. Many of my days. And so we'll see you in my next video. Happy reading. That's inappropriate.
That's inappropriate. That took me that long to get that.
That's sad.
That's really sad.